Let's call to order the Common Council meeting for May 19th. Can we stand for the invocation and pledge? Bobby?
Gracious God, we thank you for this day, God. We thank you for, God, how you continue to bless us and keep us. God, we don't take for granted each day you give us. It's another opportunity for us to do things pleasing in thy sight. We thank you for each council person that's here. We ask you to bless their families and continue to give them the strength they need. We understand that it's not an easy job to lead this city, but we give you, Lord, we thank you for their courage. We thank you for their wisdom, and we thank you for their willingness to do the job. We ask you to pray for our city, pray for our mayor, pray for all of our staff that works with our city, Lord. Continue to be with them. And Lord, help us continue to appreciate the days that you are giving us. But also, God, we pray for our state, pray for our country, pray for all of our leaders. And God, we just thank you, God, that all the things that are going on in this world, that we know that you have all power and all power is in your hands. So we're trusting you, God, to work it out. So this prayer we ask in the name of the Lord and Savior Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we do roll call, please?
Councilperson Smith. Councilperson Sostovny.
Present.
Councilperson Payne.
Here.
Councilperson Sellers. Here. Council Vice President Gill. Here. Council President Julius.
Here.
Councilperson Glover.
I'm here.
Councilperson Owen.
Here.
Councilperson Samuel.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all council members are present.
All right, thank you. Approval of the agenda.
Unless there are any changes, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any changes, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Minutes to be approved from the regular council proceedings, May 5th.
There are no changes, motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Claims to be approved.
Requesting approval of claims totaling $568,648.29.
I didn't know if Paul was here. I had a question on one of the claims. We paid for some plumbing work in the one, I think it was 125 East Ford Avenue, and that's the Carnegie Library.
Okay.
And Paul said he thought, I don't know, I never got an answer why we paid that claim.
You said,
It wasn't signed by any of us or any,
Yeah.
that's no kind of irrigation system or anything at Warner Park, is it?
it said the building.
Yeah, he called Paul.
I called Paul.
Inside.
And I didn't ask him, so I forgot, but I did.
Mr. Merkley.
But it's not a city property.
We had a plumbing issue, I guess, at the Carnegie Library, and we paid for that. Is the city doesn't, that wasn't transferred over to the city or anything, was it, the Carnegie Library? I'm just
But I
asking what
called
we're
Paul,
paying
and I
for.
went through the claims, and
Shut off valve and stuff.
it was even signed by Tom Lindley.
Yeah, I think we should pull it to
I do too. I don't remember what it was, but
225 at one
What page?
repair line. Is it on page 8 of 18?
I looked at it, Vicki, the other day when Lisa and I went through the claims, and I just noticed it, and it was like, that probably shouldn't be our bill.
Or $65, I'm sorry.
That's not much of a
Still more plumbing,
claim.
$65.
You need to verify that it is.
Huh?
You need to verify.
Oh, no, I mean for being inside.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't sound much of a plumbing claim. You know, it sounds more like an irrigation claim, but who knows?
$568 and $583.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
$568, $583.29.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve with that, without that claim.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you.
All right. Report of the clerk.
None at this time.
Oh, absolutely.
Department head, Scott, you are up.
All right, sounds good. Hello, I'm Scott Aldridge. I'm your representative on the Police Merit Board. I don't know everybody. Number one, I'd like to thank you all for selecting me. It's a job and position I take seriously. As your representative, if you have any questions or concerns concerning the activities of the Merit Board, feel free to contact me, or if there's anything that you want brought up specifically at a board meeting, go ahead and let me know. The reason why I'm here is I haven't ever reported to the council before on minutes from meetings or anything like that, and I'm not sure how you want me to report, but there is an issue that came up that I think I need the council's decision on. And what it's in reference to is Officer Mills. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he was accused of a felony crime. And we have, the Merit Board was put in place to hear the actions from the city, or from the police chief, that they're going to take on his determination. And he has a choice to have it heard by the Merit Board, or to have it heard by an arbitrator, if you will. He elected to have this issue heard by an arbitrator. There's no mechanism in place for the payment of the arbitrator. I know in the statute it's indecisive as who bears the financial responsibility. It's our opinion, since we already fund the Merit Board's in place and paid to hear the case, if he elects to go outside of what the city already pays for, I don't think that we should be liable to pay his legal bills. So that's the decision that I'd like to get clarification from you. We got an invoice from Judge Donahue for the expenses of his arbitration. And as a board, we elected to get a decision before we pay the bill. And at a minimum, we think the cost should be borne equally, or since it's a private matter, it should all be borne by him.
When I talked to Scott about this, and you members that were on the negotiating team, we've kind of visited this. You know, there's always something that comes up, but I wanted Scott to come in and explain it, but it was my opinion, and my opinion alone, that if they elect to take it out of the jurisdiction, then they should have some skin in the game, some responsibility. And that's...
I know that we actually asked our attorney.
Yeah, how this came up was because, brought the claim to the city council, and I think I suggested that it come out of the police department budget. Yeah, it seemed like there was three places where it could be paid out of: police department budget, Lloyd, or the merit commission. Council decided the merit commission. Check the state board of accounts, because I know the council for the police commission sent a 3-page letter creating a 3-page letter out of a $200 claim. But at the end of the day, state board of accounts said it can be paid from anywhere because it is city business. And my position is it's up to the city council where you want to pay it. Last time, the city council chose to pay it out of the merit commission.
Right, and we don't know how much the total bill's going to be because it's still in progress. So it could...
The statute is silent as to what happens if a hearing officer is brought in to hear the case.
Right.
As far as payment.
As far as payment, yes.
Right, so what we did the last meeting was I recommended or made a motion to amend the document that if a person elects to go outside the merit board or the city paid system, then they should bear the cost of the arbitration. And that's an amendment that we're drawing up that we'll address at the next,
I don't think we can do it.
Commission has the authority to tell the city council. Yeah, I agree.
or however, I'm not a lawyer, so the bottom line is I don't,
That's the authority for the merit commission to tell them.
Maybe that's a recommendation
it's a
that they should make.
however it's going to be
us.
made, we'll make a recommendation, because I don't think the city should pay his legal fees. 100%. I mean, we paid for training, we've paid for everything else, and it was...
That's not his legal fees, that's an arbitration fee. It's not like paying for a private attorney.
How are most arbitrations paid?
Well, it depends on the nature of the case and who the parties are.
All right.
But there's no fast-forward rule. But
I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Wes when we talked about this, that the Merit Commission, we believe, was one of the appropriate entities that could have paid for it. I mean, I know I recommended that.
I didn't want to.
No, we'll pay it if you want us to, but since there's no clearly defined, I'm not so sure that we should be required to pay it all. And that's what I want to address with the council, and, you know, this is the first time we've had one of these.
Yeah.
The Merit,
And we don't know what the cost is going to be at the end of the day.
the Merit Commission has an attorney itself, is that right?
Yes.
What is his or her opinion? I
He
don't know
doesn't
who the
think we should
attorney
pay
is.
it.
I'm sorry?
And he doesn't think that the Merit Board should pay it. We'll do what the council wants us to do because we work for you and you handle the budget anyway, that's fine. But I think if a person's been accused of a felony crime and they elect to use a mechanism outside of one that we've established, then they should, that's our opinion as a board. And
Sure.
since there's no clearly written law in this case, I think it
what
should
you're
be.
saying, what he's saying, sounds moral, but what I'm hearing from them is legally, you've got three choices, and any of those three choices are taxpayer dollars, it doesn't make a
I
difference.
think it's entirely up to you all. Take it to you all.
Just pick your poison, it's still gonna come out of taxpayer
No,
dollars.
It's all tax, this is my opinion. The Merit Board, we budget their money, it's out of taxpayer dollars.
Right.
It's out of taxpayer dollars of us. If you guys fall short, the Merit Board has come before us before to ask for more appropriations. It's not really any different than any other
No.
department in the city. So my opinion is, go ahead and let them pay it since that's what's been suggested. If at the end you guys need more money for something, come to us and we look at it.
No, that's fine, we get
Yeah.
that, and we don't have a problem with paying it. But I don't think that our council says that 100% of the cost should be borne by the city for this panel. And that's the question.
Well,
Because it's not clear in the statute who pays for the hearing, so we think that it should be borne at a minimum by both parties.
But you said that you all have a suggestion that will address this from the,
In the future, yes.
but what we have to deal with is what we have
no.
on hand right now.
Yes, but we don't have to, we've talked to Judge Donahue, and he's fine to wait until we get a determination. And the State Board of Accounts, our council's talked to them, of course, this is hearsay, because I'm not the one that talked to them, and they told us that we could pay it, or we didn't have to pay it. It's up to whatever we decide, because it's not clearly outlined in the statute.
Well, I got a question, Scott. If an individual at will chooses to call whomever to ask for legal advice or opinion, is that individual that made that phone call responsible to pay that bill?
But this bill is not for private attorneys.
Right.
This is for the arbitrators. Now,
Right.
if he had a private attorney, this bill is not for that.
The city and Officer Mills' attorney agreed to have a hearing officer hear this case as
Right.
opposed to American.
Yeah, so it's not attorney.
It's not a unilateral decision by the city or a unilateral decision by Mr. Mills. It's a decision that was by statute that's required. You're going to take it out away from the Merit Commission. So it's
Okay.
not for attorney fees, it's for a hearing officer or a judge to hear the case as opposed to the Merit.
And it wasn't like a private matter, it's relevant
It's
to
a
the city
city.
police officer, so it's a city matter. I mean, he had his own private attorney, but the arbitrator, Judge Donahue's not acting as an attorney, he's acting as the arbitrator.
So the question is, do we pay 50% or 100%? Is that what we're today?
Bottom line, I
Is that
think.
the bottom line?
Yeah, I mean, if the city's going to have to pay, in my opinion, 100% of the arbitrator's fee. I mean, then you pick where it's coming from. You're not paying for Officer Mills' private attorney.
I understand.
Right.
Well, in the
His
past,
own private attorney. This has nothing to do with.
in the past, he could have been terminated and he would have had to sue to get his job back. But now that we have,
This is the first time we've ever had a hearing officer. Of course, the Merit Commission is really new. to deal with it. This is the first time we've had a hearing officer brought in.
Yeah, but it's not a private lawsuit. It was initiated by the disciplinary, through the city disciplinary action. So I mean, this is not a private lawsuit matter, it's a city matter.
correct.
But
But
Right.
who made the request to go with a private arbitrator instead of the merit commission that's,
City and Mills' attorney.
and what was the purpose of that?
I'd rather not.
It is.
So wouldn't that be a 50/50?
Yeah, it seems like it to me.
Best case
That's
scenario,
my
just
point.
50/50. I mean,
I think you're all not hearing what he's saying. I think he says by statute, we have to pay this.
No.
Statute is
It's
silent
silent.
as to what happened.
I don't think the statute says that.
The statute, yeah.
So if the
statutes-
Hearing the parties may agree for a hearing officer to hear a disciplinary matter. That's rules in America.
If the statute's
Deal
silent, then,
with who's going to be responsible for my feeling is, we're paying the city's paying the merit commission to hear it. Why is it any different to be paying the hearing office? The city pays the hearing office. They get paid to hear it. The city pays 100% of their stipend, their expenses. Why should it be any different if it's a retired judge who's been on the bench for 30 years to hear the case?
Yeah, I don't think.
it'll be more expensive.
I don't think that the officer personally pays for part of the arbitration, because it is a city, it's a disciplinary proceeding.
Right.
It's a city
Right.
proceeding.
He wasn't defending himself against our action. He was, okay.
Yeah, it's not like a private lawsuit matter or something
Right.
like that, even though he's paying his own private attorney, but the arbitration, whether you're the hearing officer or a special judge is the hearing officer, that's a city fee, pay the arbitration.
But it is going to be more expensive going outside the merit commission because we've already budgeted and we would have heard it under the normal course of business as opposed to paying extra money to an arbitrator. And under the circumstances,
The money all comes from the same pond.
so, you know,
Well, Scott, earlier, because I asked him about it.
I'll do what the council says we're going to do, or I'll carry that back.
I think I just heard our attorney say that he thinks we're responsible to pay the bill. Is that not what you said?
I think he says the state's silent.
No. I'm
No.
talking about our attorney who just spoke there. So with that,
I don't think you can.
Oh, you're not?
pay the bill off privately for the officer to pay personally. I think you do that, then you will have.
and we can't split a 50/50.
I don't think you can force him. I mean, as far as 50/50 with another fund from the city, that's.
No.
But not him personally, I don't think you can make him pay.
I think definitely can't do it retroactively.
No.
If that's the case, then do we want to change the ordinance?
He said
Because
they have
they're
to.
going
to-
We've got a proposal for the
Yeah.
future.
But we would have to be the ones to do that, sounds like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That would have to be done by the city council prospectively. I don't think, whatever agreement, I was involved in this, but whatever agreement was done between the city and all that, and, I mean, I don't think you can, as Les said, retroactively change the agreement.
all right, so what action do you need by the council? Do we need it?
We don't need any at this point, and then,
No, we're to submit the claim to them, yeah, that's.
Well, hopefully this will be the only one we have.
Scott,
Take it out of mayor's promotional fund.
take it out, take it out.
Open council.
Yeah,
there you go.
Okay?
Take it out, low it,
For Scott Aldridge, the,
Lloyd or whatever.
the Merit Commission's budget,
Take it out of them when they run out of money.
is there money in there, or will you, is it pretty much identified with the meetings you have left, that if we use that fund, we would have to appropriate more money at the end of the year versus we have other funds that it probably could be paid without that step?
no, we'll probably return money to the city council like we've done in the past.
Okay.
It's just that, and even though it is a public hearing, I don't know, an officer committed allegedly a felony crime when he was off duty. So I don't know how much in the scope of, I
don't think we should be discussing.
I just don't think that
Publicly.
in the future, the city should be forced to pay for the costs associated with somebody retaining or keeping their job back in circumstances such as that. That's our position on the merit board, and I just wanted to carry it to you, and if y'all decide something different, that's fine. But we are going to propose an amendment so that it's clearly stated who pays what. And I've only been on the merit board for 2 meetings too, so I wasn't involved in any of this anyway. But I think it is an issue worth being brought up, and that's why I was here tonight.
Good deal.
All right?
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you all.
And thank you for your service on the board.
We've got Chris Grimm, is anybody?
I'm Chris Graham tonight.
All right.
Major Lynn.
Good evening, folks.
Evening.
Major Josh Lynch, here for Chief's business. I've got, there it is, some training and travel expenses to bring for approval. Just for the record, I have nothing to do with that situation, so.
Major Lynch, before
Yes.
you get into this, is anything on this paper that we didn't discuss in the Finance Committee, his yearly trainings, did he was-
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand.
Did the Chief Grimm say to you, was anything different on here that he already previously discussed about all the trainings? Because he gave us a whole list of trainings that he knew was going to
I
happen.
cannot advise if that's the
Okay.
case. I know that this is in the budget,
Budget,
that we're not
okay.
going outside the budget on any of this.
This is the same list? Okay.
I'll make
So
a
all
motion
of
to
this,
approve.
all of, yeah,
Discussion.
question, I got questions. There's a motion, second.
Any other discussion?
Thank
I
you.
didn't even hear what.
Is all of this covered? You're not going to have to go
Nathan's quick.
outside your overtime budget or your regularly scheduled budget? That's one thing he told us in the finance meeting, he would not have to go out of to pay for any of this or come and ask. We would not have to appropriate any more money.
For
for
training?
Training.
Yes, no, this is within the budget for training, yes.
Any other discussion?
What was the motion? I didn't even hear.
To approve the list.
Okay.
Let him go.
And,
Do you have something else?
well, I think I would like to add, as long as it stays within their budget.
Can you amend it? You're gonna amend
Sure,
it?
that's fine.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. That was painless. Unfinished business, Les Merkley interlocal agreement.
This is just the...
These are the agreements in reference to,
Excuse
me, in reference to the fuel supply with the county, and then also in reference to vehicle repairs with the county.
Yes, when you email those out, will you be sure to get them to us?
I apologize.
Well, those would be in our locals that were... I'm not doing the right one. No. Okay. I didn't think so. It's on the agenda. Go back to the agenda. Because that's one that's been tabled 15 times.
Yeah. And I just received these back from the county today because they've been approved by the commissioners, but also we were waiting for them to be approved by the county council.
While those are coming around,
reason we didn't get them until today.
There's an awful lot there.
No, we were waiting for the county. The commissioners had approved these a while back, but we were waiting for the county council, and they just approved them last week, and the county had...
while these are coming around, I did call Bubby Vissing and I emailed him the two for the fuel and the maintenance. Just had him go over them, and he had no problems with either one. I know there was a question, I don't know who asked it about, when these first came out, about how much paperwork it would be. Bubby says they're already in the system, and, it's not going to be a lot of extra paperwork, if any.
Is this two of them?
The other thing, Amy, that one of the questions that we talked about today was this night on the maintenance figure for the county vehicles. There was a labor rate of $19.26. Bubby said, he had gotten that from you and that's with benefits. Now, this was some time ago, was probably, so you're comfortable with that?
I don't remember the exact amount, but that sounds
Okay.
reasonable.
Well, I would like to review these since.
Oh, I think we should.
Okay.
I think
And
we should.
I will stand that the 1926 is not adequate. Again, our insurance runs around $1,500 a month. The employee pays $200, so that's $1,300 a month that the city pays. And I think if you figure, depending on the mechanic, that his or her salary and the wages and the benefits and stuff, that's a deal. 1926, and I haven't figured out exactly how it benefits the Jeffersonville taxpayer for us working on county cars at this rate. But that being said, I want to review this, and I do question 1926 NAR. I think.
Can you revisit that? Okay.
That's huge. So.
Well, the only thing I'll add is to your point, I mean, the Jeffersonville employee is already at work, so whether they're working on a county vehicle or city vehicle, they're being paid a wage for that time that they're there. So when I see whether it's 1926 or 2568, it's another revenue stream coming into the city that you wouldn't get if we were just repairing city vehicles. So,
Yeah, but you're not considering the wear and tear on equipment. There's a whole lot to just this 1926.
well, I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I don't think this amounts to a whole lot. I think when we looked at, well, Connie said she looked at some records, it's not that much service that we're providing.
But why do the taxpayers pay for any service? I mean, if it's an emergency, I mean, any piece of equipment and vice versa at any community, we can join together and help each other out. That's not the issue. But the issue is if we have an employee and he's not doing anything because the county vehicle's not there, then we got too many employees. I mean, I'm not trying to beat this thing to death. I'm just trying to figure out, the facility was physically built for our city equipment. Everything, from the lifts to the air compressors to the tools, everything we got. Inventory of equipment was built for our fleet. And now we're absorbing this other stuff. And I have a hard time figuring out, we are paying bonds to pay the building off. From what I understand, they're wanting to increase or do some work on the lighting in the facility. We just purchased a bunch of new lifts, or several new lifts. So even the wear and tear on the lifts and the equipment, the air compressor is something.
Oh, I don't disagree
You see
with you.
what I'm saying?
I see the 1926 as cheap. You can't go to a dealer and get that rate. But I do agree with the fact that if we can have the county pay us a fee to service their vehicles, I just see that as another revenue stream coming into the city. I mean, I don't
I
have
don't
a
think
problem
State
with
Board
that
of
at all.
Accounts allows you to make a profit. Do they, Scott?
Absolutely not, it's actual.
But does the State Board of Account allow you to lose money?
I mean, it's basically the actual.
You're saying to build in overhead.
Right.
Overhead cost.
Right.
Oh, the overhead
Actual
cost
cost.
the overhead cost on this is huge.
How do you calculate that? How do you say, we worked on a county vehicle 3 times this month, so that's about $24 in maintenance on the lift and, $3
Well, there'll be
on
a
the
percentage, you have an
wrenches and-
overhead percentage built in every business,
Well, I
if it
don't-
were
yeah,
a business.
You can't. You
But
realistically
that's-
can't, but and again, I haven't read this, but I still want to look at how you justify servicing other municipalities' vehicles and a labor rate, which is tough to do, but you figure, I just don't know, the city taxpayer right now is paying a bond to pay, well, I guess it's TIF, but they're paying a bond to pay this off and the facility off and the wear and tear on the equipment, and we're doing it for $19 an hour. That's a deal. And I don't know why we want to go there. That's what I'm having trouble with. I really don't know how it benefits the city taxpayer.
Cars.
That's all I'm saying, so.
You know what I'm saying?
But I do want to review this stuff.
Okay, can we assign them numbers since we have them?
Sure.
On the fuel would be number 10, on the maintenance and repairs, a number 11.
I don't think I can support that.
I'll make a motion to table.
Before you vote, I got one more question. It has on here it has the commissioner's signature, but it shows on here for the county council, Barbara Hollis, and the auditor, and then it shows the Jeff City, so it's not gone to the county, doesn't go to the county council? Or?
I have not received the signed.
They approved it, but I recused myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
These
but
are
I'm
the
just
ones,
asking.
yeah, these are the ones that the county attorney gave me.
I assume the signed copy's probably over there in the auditor's office. County council did
I asked for the signed copies, and this is what I got.
Okay, because I think we need it all together before y'all vote on it the next time.
Did we have a second?
Yeah, Zach.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, Amy Deering, an ordinance transferring certain funds within the same department. Passed on first reading, 5/5/14.
I'd like to request for this to be amended. We did add 2 additional items since it was approved on the first reading. I explained the Lowit in the email today. I don't know if everyone got a chance to look at that.
Made
And-
perfect sense.
Okay. It was hard to explain in the email, but, and then the building authority was just a request from Larry. He needed some additional supplies, so.
Piece of equipment that you have to have.
Make a motion to approve 2014 OR 22 on the second and third reading.
Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Coming around.
We had city pride. I thought Peggy was coming tonight.
Oh, she was, but she's not here, so.
I thought Jeff, I thought, we didn't believe that Jeff wants to be there. I don't think he will be there.
You know, I don't see Jay Ellis here either.
Sorry.
Well, do we want to talk about the city pride or not?
I'd rather wait till Peggy's here if we can, just
Fine.
so we can have all our answers, questions.
Fine, let's, somebody make a motion to,
Motion to table. I'll second.
any other discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Then are we tabling Jeff Fest?
Well,
No, I think we need to go ahead and do Jeff
Yeah.
Fest. That's just
It
the
was
request of
already
money
in
that
the-
we do every year.
yeah. It
That's
was-
usually budgeted, isn't it?
Yeah, it's usually budgeted.
It was, and I think I sent y'all out an email last week, even Nathan, and that we went ahead and submitted
Yes.
the claims and everything.
Thank you for
You all
including me.
approved them.
It was in the claims list, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you for including me.
So we don't have to take any action.
Thought it did.
What is it?
The claims list go through to be signed?
Yes.
Yeah.
You signed it. You need-
It was all in the budget.
Yeah, so then we don't even, it just seems, he just needs to file a claim.
If he was gonna come up and kind of just talk to y'all about it, but
Okay.
It was,
So do we need any kind of action on that?
it was in the
Already
claims.
claimed.
Just needs to
So-
file a claim.
All right.
We
And I don't see anybody here for the homeless task force.
No, I spoke with Beth this morning, and she said they would have a report for you at the next meeting.
All right, so we'll table that.
Moving right along.
Moving right along, I like how this is going. At the last Finance Committee meeting, Bubby brought in, and I did not bring those figures, did you? Either one of you all on the lighting and the
I
fans?
thought it was.
It's
on
here. Oh, is it in here?
It's in here.
Oh, here it is,
Nice name.
big ass fan.
Believe it?
They are big.
They are big.
And they work.
And, Bubby, what's that?
I said, how big are
About
They're
the
big.
circumference. I guess.
They're big.
You just want to say that.
He did.
You just want to be bad.
But this has been discussed at several meetings. Bubby came to the last Finance Committee meeting, made a claim, or told us exactly what he wanted to do, and here is what you have, and I believe this is for the lights, and we were gonna, or the wiring, and we were gonna do some of the wiring in-house. We were also getting a rebate from the electric company on this. So, but I don't see a lighting package.
I thought, when I asked him at the meeting, he said that this 22,000 encompassed everything.
I thought it did too, but I don't
Yeah,
see.
the fan.
As I understand it, this was, he's got it in his budget.
Yeah, he does.
It's in his
Then
budget.
nobody comes and asks if they can spend their own budget. I don't understand that. I mean,
Well, actually,
just-
it's not in his budget.
It's under
under Stephanie.
sanitation, and they are, yeah.
And they're willing to pay for it.
And they're willing to pay for
Is
it.
sanitation in a different building? Isn't sanitation in a separate building than vehicle maintenance?
I think that they work on the
I
sanitation
understand,
trust.
but I mean, it's
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
buildings.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's in their environmental fee line
Right.
that they had the money from.
so,
So what form of a motion, or what do we need, Scott, for this?
I guess I'm still trying to figure out if it's in the budget.
we don't need any
It's,
action in the
it's,
budget,
it's,
do we?
it's not in Bubby's budget. It's in sanitation, and they want to do it. Do they want to do a transfer, do you know?
I think we need to transfer out of that environmental down to.
That's what it sounds like, it's a transfer.
Right.
It's a transfer of funds.
It's not using the money, it's a transfer from one category to another.
Right.
so that Bubby can spend it.
Yeah, I think it's a transfer of funds.
Not environmental or whatever.
Let's make a motion to transfer the money.
I make a motion to transfer.
We gotta, that's a, yeah.
Right, but to go proceed with whatever it is you need to do. It's very technical, huh?
I have no idea.
Connie second.
Connie, second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Scott, ordinance establishing a fee for Steamboat Days Festival.
Yes, this ordinance, proposed ordinance, to recollect everyone's memory, a few months ago, the Parks Authority voted to establish selling the pins for the Steamboat Days Festival at $5. And I spoke with Les about this, and after kind of reviewing State Board of Account rules and statutes, I believe that we really need to have an ordinance when you initiate a fee for something, when you read those State Board of Accounts, so we want to be in compliance. That needs to be the fiscal and legislative body rather than the Parks Authority when they originally voted to implement this fee.
So I make a motion that we pass it on the first and second reading.
We need an ordinance number.
23.
23.
Second. 23. Any other discussion?
Just a few comments. We've pulled some money from various places to kind of make up the budget for Steamboat Days, and we've had some commitments as far as sponsorships. I know, I think it's ACL, American Commercial Lines, has agreed to be our title sponsor. That's, I think, a $20,000 sponsorship. So we're actually
First I've heard that. That's wonderful.
We're actually at $90,000 of an $80,000 budget for the festival.
And what we asked them to do is not to go over their budget, so that we will have something for next year.
For
to
next
put in
year.
that non-reverting.
But I wonder if possibly then, since we've met our budget expectation, should we reconsider charging a fee for access to some of the festival?
No, I think it still needs to be done.
Because we had to do the different revenue sources because we were behind the ball in getting the sponsorships, because the letters didn't get out in time. We were hoping to get sponsorship to pay for the majority of the budget, and I think this was just to kind of offset that, because we had to take it from 3 different places in the city just to meet our budget this year, since we were behind the ball.
So much is the tax
dollars of the 90,000 raised? How much is coming from us then, out of the 90,000 so far?
60,
Oh.
I think. It was 20,000.
20 from redevelopment, 20 from the UEZ.
And 20 from us.
20 from us. But,
So is the sale of the pins going to reimburse that $60,000?
no, it needs to be put in the budget.
Kind of a
item for next
non-reverting
year.
fund.
Yeah, non-reverting fund for
Well,
next year.
I'm not against selling the pins because I think they'll sell. In the past, pins were sold, and I think it'll be kind of a collector's novelty. But to require the pins for access to something that we've used tax dollars to fund, I'm not in favor of.
Right.
It's like saying, we used your tax dollars to pay for all of this, but you're still going to pay a fee to come enjoy it. And I don't think I don't know if that's
We do
kosher.
that for the ice skating rink, we do
Yeah,
that for a
we
lot
do.
of things.
Yeah, we do.
They do it for everything.
Yeah, everything, all the activities we do, we charge a fee.
Well, the only thing I'll say, I'll just add in my comment on this, since this is the first time we're bringing it back, I know it got a lot of negative comments in the past, and we're trying to revive this and bring it back up. I would hate
Steamboat
our
Days,
first year for us to kind of bring it back, and we charge a fee for it. I would almost rather see a year of it being very successful and nice, and then coming back with a pin, but, I understand there's going to be pushback against that.
The people on
just
the
a small area.
steamboat committee, which is the merchants, because we're going off what Harvest Homecoming does, we're going off what Derby does, they are pushing this, they're very excited about doing this.
Harvest Homecoming doesn't
They don't charge.
No, they don't have a charge, but they sell the pins, so that's what we're
Oh, well,
going on, yeah.
but
What do the
That
pins
just goes
get
to
you
your
into,
point.
Ronnie? I know the crash.
I can understand
It's
that,
going to be
They sell
down in
pins,
the
but they aren't
main
used for
concert
Get
area.
in.
which is what I proposed.
Will they have pins for, my question would be that's fine, but do they have access to the pins, like if where can you get pins, will there be
We're
plenty?
going to be putting them out, they're going to be in the stores, we're going to have kiosks set up.
Okay, so
they'll be
if they
available.
don't have a pin, if you want to go listen
Right.
to the Crash
It's
Regime,
gonna
you
be
pay
there.
your $5 and get a pin
There's
then?
going to be there.
Okay.
And do we know what the cost of the pins are for us yet?
No, Sarah was working on that.
$6.
That's what I was thinking.
Hey, don't be surprised.
I had to say it. Don't write that down as
No, that's
You
not.
said it. How much are derby pins?
10.
No,
They're 10,
I
aren't
thought they were 5.
I'm pretty sure they're 5, and you get
I'm up to
into
this
a
year,
month's
but I
worth
don't
of
remember.
events for $5, derby events.
It's only $5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were 10 for some
Maybe
reason.
they are 10, I'll have to look.
Vegas is 5, that's what's on.
That's 2 weeks of
2
festivals.
weeks of
I already
festivals
made them.
for $5.
And we got a second.
Ed seconded.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Roll call.
Do a roll call vote if you would, please. No?
Okay.
Okay.
Councilperson Smith. Councilperson Zastapia.
Yes.
Councilperson Payne.
No.
Councilperson Sellers. Council Vice President Gill.
Yes.
Council President Julius.
Yes.
Councilperson Glover.
No.
Councilperson Owen.
No.
Councilperson Samuel.
Yes.
All right.
What was the number? 23 was that?
23.
Thank you.
Les, a resolution approving and ratifying interlocal agreement between the city of Jeffersonville, town of Clarksville.
I would request that we take Clarksville, that they change
So moved.
So moved.
Not a problem here.
Okay, should we assign it a number or not?
6.
I mean, in order to table, I need to assign it.
What number? R24? 12? 24?
No, give me 12.
12. That's what I meant.
Half of 24.
That's what you meant. Les, interlocal agreement with Clark County Animal Shelter for the animal shelter.
This has been in the works for quite some time. Personally, with me, this has been in the works for like 10 years.
Okay.
Have copies?
So,
Do you have copies? Oh,
I
okay.
emailed this to you.
Yeah. I
You can
cannot
keep
read it
all
on my
those if you
phone,
like,
sorry.
but
It's not gonna happen.
How about my copy?
I don't print them out either.
I don't usually, but I brought mine. I wanted to read it.
Thank you.
This is the interlocal agreement with, in reference to the operation of the animal shelter that has been approved by the county. Basically, it's an agreement that will run through the end of 2017, and it basically establishes a set amount to be paid by each governmental entity that's participating. And they're listed on page 2 of the agreement, and the payments be made quarterly each year, and the city of Jeffersonville would make up any balance left in reference to the operation of the animal shelter. One thing I would like to point out, this has been approved by the county commissioners and has been approved by the county council, and Scott just advised me, which I was not aware of this. If you look at paragraph, or page 3, the last paragraph, approval and effective date, where it says, the parties agree this agreement shall be in full force and effect upon the last signature to the agreement and filed with the recorder's office. However, in the event any parties do not participate, this agreement shall act as a binding obligation between the city of Jeffersonville and each entity that executes the agreement, at which time those entities shall be responsible for the respective contribution amounts set forth above. The intent of that is that we didn't want to be in a situation where we got to sit and wait for all the governmental entities to approve this, which I've been through this before. And we're sitting here and we're waiting for Borden's $3,735 when we could have a valid agreement. So that was the intent of this, was once Jeffersonville approves it, the county approves it, it's binding on the county. Once Clarksville approves, we go along. But Scott advises me that the county council, when they approved this, they approved it contingent on all the other governmental entities approving this.
Well, can they do that?
Well, I wish, it's not Scott's fault. I wish I would have known this before.
But it's in the agreement.
I don't want to advise another governmental entity, but I think it's in the agreement. It's pretty clear that
They can't change.
I mean, I can understand their point though, because if the town of Clarksville decides to not ratify this, that's $75,000 a year that's not going into that budget. And I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
that comes
but-
back on us more than anybody.
If anybody should say, it should be us, because we're the ones on the hook for the rest of it, but I mean,
That has no bearing on the county.
Right.
They're still going to bring us our animals, we're still going to take care of them, and they're still gonna pay the same fee regardless.
I mean, honestly, my feeling would be, my advice to the city would be, okay, if we get down to, and a governmental entity refuses to approve this agreement as presented, I think then we consider what options we have
Right.
with their
I agree
animals.
that.
So did
yeah.
they change the language in the agreement, or was it just the motion was contingent?
They voted that way. Like I said, I recused myself, but because Jay Gelder was handling all the negotiations on behalf of the county, and Les was handling that on behalf of the city, since I represent both entities, so I recused myself. But that's how they voted, so.
So the
But,
motion
so if
was,
they vote like that vocally, but that's not what the agreement says, and they don't vote to amend the agreement, how does that work?
Well, I mean, you kind of put me on the spot.
Oh, okay, Les, how does that work?
But in all
Sorry.
fairness, if, I mean, the council, apparently Jake, I guess, was not speaking with the council, and he was told that I was recusing myself, so I think he had a responsibility to kind of let the council know about that term, and it wasn't, they were just handing this agreement, said you gotta approve it. They weren't involved in negotiations, so
I mean,
they didn't like that clause.
I mean, I guess if I was advising the county council, I would, and in fact, if they approved it contingent upon that language being put in there, I mean, I would advise the county council not to sign the agreement unless that language is in there, but I'm not advising the county
Well,
council.
this isn't signed by the county council.
Again,
Right.
I'm getting this from the county attorney,
I
so.
mean, this has nothing on here with the county council's approval.
Well, I think because they approved the petition, they want all the others, they want to make sure everybody's all in, that's how they explain it. I have advice.
Scott, going down through this list of municipalities that are on here, of those 6, who have we not received funds from in the past? Do we know?
The commissioners can go ahead and
I'd have to check. I mean, I think I have an idea, but I don't want to
Out of the
speak.
6, how many? Do you have a number of how many? Because I think I've got an idea also.
I think there's 1 or 2 in there.
And those are minimal numbers?
Yes.
Okay. So the major players have all contributed to this animal shelter. There are 2 minimal figures out there that haven't.
I mean, my advice to the council would be, go ahead and approve this with the language as it's presented to you. And the county council then can decide, I mean, it would have to go back in front of the county council and decide whether or not they want to.
I wasn't involved in drafting.
And maybe I go to the next county council meeting.
The parties that drafted that, because when you have multiple parties to an agreement, but if you're saying that the other, you don't need all the other parties to approve this agreement, probably if it's more burdensome, you probably should have had separate interlocals with each community. So then, when you're presented to one party, they don't have to worry about, you understand what I'm saying? They don't have to see the other 5 or 6 municipalities, just have one with the county, one with Salisbury, one with Orton, and that make, I mean, that was just my friendly advice, just so, I mean, the way the council look at it, they're saying if it's a single agreement with multiple parties, how can you have, I mean, it doesn't make sense to have an agreement with multiple parties, if some parties approve, some don't, why not all in one agreement? I think that's what they were thinking, so just my advice, it would be better, I think, just to have separate agreements with each municipality.
Scott or Les, do you know that the other municipalities have been presented with this contract?
No, and I don't want to, and there's a reason why that's not occurred, and I'm not in,
Yeah.
I don't want to discuss this, I don't want to discuss strategy in a public meeting, so.
Well, we tabled the
We're all
other
friends
two.
here.
Until you had time.
I'll make a motion to table it until we...
Second.
Yeah, and we need a new resolution that's got Mayor Moore as presiding officer of the common council.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
So then are you going to be in contact with Jake on that?
I'll get a hold of Jake, and maybe I'll just go to the next county council meeting. That may be the easiest way to do this is for me to go to the county council. So, one more quick thing. It's been a busy afternoon. The ramp, the Big 4 ramp, control has been turned over to the city of Jeffersonville as of 5:24 this afternoon. We are still trying to coordinate when it's going to open, and we are...
Looks like there's still some concrete to be poured down there and at the foot of the bridge.
Foot of the, which...
Steps.
No, that's like a month away. So that will remain closed.
The steps?
The stairwell, that will remain closed. But the issue right now is that the barricade that's at the top of the bridge can only be removed by the Louisville Waterfront Corporation because they own the bridge and they put up the barricade, so it's a question of coordinating when, and apparently that takes up to 4 hours. I don't understand, but why, but it takes up to 4 hours, so. But I just want to let the council know that it is under, the city is under control, and the intent is to open up the ramp to access to the public as soon as possible, but we're not sure when that is, so.
While you're up here real quick, Les, in our Parks Authority meeting, we discussed the crash at the overlook down on the waterfront, and it was discussed that we were going to put up barricades there that we felt were safe. Is that something we want to discuss in the Board of Public Works? Because, I mean, you're going to have Memorial Day weekend traffic down there, and we're going to have temporary barricades up. Is that something we want to shut the whole overlook down?
Oh, the overlook?
I know there was a push to kind of get it up and open for the river stage, but with temporary barricades there, I think we're kind of pushing that.
Well, why not just place large concrete, I mean, if that's the concern, why not just place large concrete barricades there at the overlook if you're worried about it?
That may not be designed to hold that much weight. You talking about the kind they set with cranes or boom trucks? I don't know if that would hold that much weight.
They were talking about just putting up and I know that I'm not using the correct terminology, but look, the police barricades that were more reinforced and still allow people up on it. And Councilman Samuel and I kind of looked at each other and kind of thought, it wouldn't take a whole lot for somebody to kind of get through that. Just anyway, just keep that in.
And I know that, that is also a concern with the Big Four. Once the plaza is complete, there will be, what do you call them? Poles. So, yeah, so no one can drive through there.
Jersey bumpers?
What's that?
Jersey bumpers?
I don't know.
Just the concrete pillars. Concrete pillars.
That is in the design that, for the Big Four station, that will be completed. But in the meantime, in order to make sure it's safe in that area, we would be closing Pearl Street in that block. Because what's going to happen is since it's not complete, we're basically dumping people out right into the middle of a street, not even at an intersection, so we're going to close off Pearl. And that also will keep cars from also driving up into the plaza.
Similar like they did last during the construction of Chestnut Street in that area, they had it kind
We're going to try to filter then everybody over to Chestnut to keep them away from the construction. Cool. So.
Go on, Chestnut.
All right. Scott, you got anything?
No, I don't.
No public comment?
No public comment either.
Mr. Smith?
No, just an update too. I've been in contact with Chief Hedrick of the fire department. As most of you are aware, we had a ladder truck that was in an incident on Charlestown Pike. 3 firefighters on the truck, one of them still off duty, mostly just sore. And I think a lot of that has to do with riding in the truck. You have an air pack up against your back, and I think that kind of probably affected her that route. But the rest of them are on duty, and one of them hadn't came back yet, but she'll be back soon. Today they did strip the truck down, the apparatus down. They took ladders and anything off of it, probably a lot of medical stuff, different things. They noticed the ladder, the aerial ladder, they noticed some damage to that they never noticed before. They do have some broken and damaged rungs from that. They're going to move the truck over to Grainwell's Body Shop. They have an appraisal from the insurance company or an adjuster from the insurance company that will come and look at it. I guess for the insurance purposes. John Mullins, I don't know, some of you may have met John. John's been selling fire apparatus, well, since Vicki was on the council, so that was 96.
Really?
So he sold us a lot of equipment over the years. He's very knowledgeable, so he's also going to be called in for us to kind of oversee this, to make sure regardless that we do get a fair market value of that piece of equipment. I personally think it's totaled. So the dollar amount will be what will be in question, and I hope Les is involved in that too. And I don't know how good the insurance is going to work with us on that. So,
what's our deductible on it? Did you say you didn't know?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But I have talked to other departments. At some point, maybe we should look at a specialty coverage for these trucks. This truck, in 2003, I bought that truck, and I got $100,000 from Build Indiana, which is lottery money. And that truck was roughly $550,000 ballpark, unequipped. And now it's $800,000 plus.
Unequipped?
Unequipped. I mean, apples and apples. So, but we, from what I understand, if it's over 10 years old, it changes everything, and this is a 2003, so it's 11 years old.
Do we have replacement cost, or is it just?
Evidently not, and I don't know, I did talk to a couple, but we probably need to look at this. This is a specialty piece of equipment, no different than maybe a street department piece of equipment, backhoe or something big, I'm not sure. But anyway, so just so you know, we got one firefighter that's off, and she should be back soon. All the appraisers and adjusters are all coming in, so you'll see it moved over to Gray and Wells, and at that point, we will know the dollars and where we stand, whether it can be rebuilt or not. Personally, I think it's slim, but I guess there's that possibility. So that's just an update on it.
Do we know if it's totaled, how long of a replacement time we're looking at?
Well, here's your options, and when we get to that, right now, because I got online and reviewed, because I've talked to Chief Hedrick a little bit, they have, a lot of these apparatus builders have demos, and they will build these trucks. It's just coming down the line. It's a spec truck.
Right.
And they can take it all over the country and show you this truck. And if you get a demo, you can get them pretty quick. If you spec it out, you're probably talking a year to build something of this size. So, I don't really know. I think that'll be a choice we'll have to make.
When we built the engines for Ferraro, the turnaround was only maybe 90 days.
No, when we did these two trucks, we spec'd them out. Nuts, bolts, everything, and it was a year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can buy them already, but we spec those both out.
I think a ladder's a little bit different, man. I did talk to Hedrick a little bit about it, Chief Hedrick, and it depends on what manufacturer we go to. And obviously, if there's something coming down the line too, and they haven't got it to paint yet, and it's what you want, you can get it quicker. But by the time you sit down and you start specking and building and designing and fitting and all that stuff, it's a fairly long process. So, but they do have demos out there.
Okay.
So,
They just got their demo ladder truck.
Who's that?
New Albany bought Ferrara's demo ladder truck.
They got a Ferrari, because I talked to Chief, I know nothing about a Ferrari ladder, and so we'll probably go down and kind of look it over and pick it to death and see if it's what we want. I don't know, but anyway, that's just kind of an update. So I think we was very fortunate. Two things. One is there was a lot of mud, and that acted as a brake. So when that axle and them wheels hit that thing, I mean, if you went out to the site, you seen how deep it went. That was, if it'd been hard surface, they'd been in that creek. I don't know where they'd have been. And another thing too is just, this is a 75-foot ladder. When it was spec'd out, we put tandem axles on it. So that really gave it a lot of stability, where normally a 75-foot ladder has a single axle. Okay. Anyway, so that thing drove like it was on a rail. They were an excellent piece. So anyway, that's just an update.
Just want to say that our newest restaurant in downtown Jeffersonville opened today. The Red Yeti is open for business, and had a chance to eat there for lunch there today. And good food, and hopefully have good adult beverages as well. They're not yet able to make beer because they need a federal license of some sort that they're working on, but they plan on doing that as well in the next couple months. So that's all.
No comment.
No comment.
No comment.
The only thing I'll add is, in the last couple meetings of Board of Public Works, we have talked about the traffic and I know Lisa's up to date on this too, some of the issues we've had at Charlestown, New Albany, Utica, Salisbury Road and Highway 62 with the new turning lane that's put in there and the new curbing. We've had some issues there, so we're looking at ways to kind of remedy that, but it has worked out well as far as helping the traffic filter out of those back neighborhoods. And I know the neighborhoods that we routed traffic through are extremely happy that that road's back open. So we're still working through that. I know Andy's on top of it. Now Lisa's followed up on a lot. So that
was a quick process too.
It wasn't for the neighbors out there, but it was.
I know.
For us, it was, but for the neighbors, they spent 2 weeks with a lot of traffic volumes through their neighborhood. So anyway, that's all I've got.
Okay.
Mr. Samuel?
Okay, a couple things. One is, I'm disappointed that the homeless task force didn't give the report. I mean, that's been over a month we've asked for that. And we had visitors here tonight for that, and they waited up more than half the meeting, and then they had to leave when they chose to leave when they heard they weren't coming. So that's unfortunate. If you would, please make sure they're on for the next agenda. Put them on, and then I'll confirm with Les to try to get them
They
in.
will be put on. But
I understand, it's not in your control, I got it. But it's still frustrating. On a more positive note, the Earthship bench, many of you have seen pictures of that the art group has been working on, one of the art groups in Jeff. It's almost completed, and hopefully at our next meeting, I won't commit them, but I'm going to try to get a report on that where they can show some visuals of the pictures that as it's gone through. It's really a neat addition. We have 4 new benches that are, I met today with an artist, our commission met with an artist down on Chestnut Street, and we got some really unique benches that are going to be on Chestnut Street between, right when you come off the Big 4 Bridge and Spring Street there. Really unique benches, and I think it'll be really nice. Should be coming very soon. We're in discussions with 2 different business owners about some murals downtown. One is Benton's, the side of Benton's, and the other one is the side of the Red Yeti. So it'd be really neat if we can get a couple of those murals going. And then my last comment goes kind of back to the negative again, is the bioswale there on the corner of, I guess it's Chestnut and Spring, that's closest to the Glossbrenner Garden. It's probably 18 to 24 inches deep. And if you've gone...
I'll explain some of that to you.
Because somebody's going to fall in it, and we're going to have a huge
I've told Mike that too.
Okay. That's all I have.
Well, I'll go on with the bioswale. When it was built, it was virtually at grade, and it didn't work. It started flooding the street. So they dug it out to give it more capacity, and it didn't work. So now what they're deciding, there's grates on top of all of those risers, and there appear to be 8-inch risers. So now they're going to take those grates off so that it's open pipe, which I think creates another problem. But I'm not the engineer, but my problem is dumping all that mulch, which is going to float down in those pipes, and then we're going to, I had a business across from that, and it floods so bad that it crests the crown of Spring Street and goes in the catch basin. So, until it can catch up.
Yeah, 2 things for me. It has a problem, and it's a design.
I don't know.
Design alone.
Yeah, I think they are.
It's also,
It's damn near
there'll
working.
be no mulch. Mulch will not be put back in there. We're going to put rock back in there.
But they need to raise the elevation or the grade back up.
Hopefully that will help. It is a problem.
It is a problem.
The way it is now, because I was walking all around that corner for those benches today, if you fall down, it's a pit. If you fall in that pit, and there's a curb at the top which will trip you.
That's what I told
and
Mike
get
today.
you in there. Those trees that we've got in there, they have, they're staked with those metal, big, thick stake. And if you fall over, you'll impale yourself right on the stake. And it's horrible. And I think we need to...
Try not to put that in the paper either.
We need to rope it off or something.
Structure Point was the designer who started under the prior administration, and they did not receive a grant. We reapplied for the grant, got it.
I mean, it's...
Structure Point.
They designed it and, okay.
It's going to be, it's a liability, and I'm glad we're on it, Les, or whoever. Okay.
Can we do anything to that project is actually turned over to the city, or our hands tied a little bit
Regarding
to
the,
get in on Chestnut Street and maybe bring in a truckload
no,
of
we're
dirt?
going in our own.
Okay.
No, it's...
We just gotta be careful because it's a grant. We don't want to
Jeopardize
jeopardize our money with that. With that grant, any grant we get.
I wanted to tell everybody we got a thank you card from Bill Barber. Bill Barber sits on the YMCA board with Joe LaRocca. It says, Dennis, I want to thank you for getting Joe and I scheduled for the April council meeting. Thank you and the entire council for orchestrating and making the grant happen. For the YMCA of Southern Indiana, it will help make our community a better, or make our community even better. Sincerely, Bill Barber. So I wanted to get that out. The other thing that I wanted to let everybody know, I know probably a year and a half ago, I brought to the council the tolling on the bridges. And believe it or not, here we are 2 years later, and there's a few of us that have still worked on that. We had a meeting at Buckhead's last Friday with different businesses in the area, and we had Ron Groom, Steve Stimler, and we had 2 reps from NDOT there. We had over $500 million worth of business in that Clark County, in that room. And we talked to NDOT about the repercussions of the taxes and of the tolls. And we were not asking them to slow down the bridges project. We know there's going to be tolls. What we are asking for them is some sort of mitigation for the businesses in the area. And we are getting some traction. One Southern Indiana looks like may help us. They've already been to Indianapolis once to carry the message. It looks like it could be fruitful in alleviate, one of the things that NDOT and Ron Grooms and Steve said was, not only do we want to draw new business here, but we want job retainage. We want to retain jobs in Clark County. And almost everybody in that room, and there was probably 50 businesses represented, it was full. Almost every business in there said, we may take half of our workforce to Louisville, or we may take all of our workforce to Louisville because so much of our business is done in Kentucky. And we thanked NDOT for, being part of the Bridges project. We don't want to deter any of that. But I just wanted you guys to be aware that we are still working on hopefully some mitigation, whether it's federal transportation dollars or tax credits or whatever means it is to help these businesses in Southern Indiana. It's going to be detrimental. One business said that the repercussion of the tolls at $10 would be $500,000 a year to their business in Clark County. So anyway, I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on those meetings, and they are still going on, and we're going to have more of them, but we're getting a little bit of traction. So anyway, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.